It is now Sunday around 1 o'clock, and I just had lunch, and so I'm out enjoying this really nice weather. It's weird, we go from like 20 degrees and snowing to 2 days later, it's now in the 60s, and it's just a gorgeous like blue sky day, and it just feels like spring. And so yeah, I want to be outside after lunch. I'm gonna go back, and I have a bunch of apples to use up that I purchased at the grocery store, and so I'm going to be making an apple cobbler, like a quick, easy dessert. And I know there's two different kinds of cobblers, at least in my experience. There's like the granola topping, more crunchy, and then there's the cakey topping. And I am definitely the cakey cobbler fan. It always goes well with like ice cream or something like that. So maybe I'll have to get a video of my finished product once that is complete. And I'm listening to, I forgot to mention, I'm listening to, what's the name? One second, let me look it up. Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. And I just started this, and it is a historical romance, is what it seems to be. And instead of like a woman being like incapable of doing anything and relying on everyone else, she's like a fiercely independent woman, and she gets caught up with a duke who she kind of slowly lets into her life, is what it seems to be so far. I just started it on this walk, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. This is Winnie's chair outside. She's commandeered it here with lots of scratching. It matches her eyes too. Green's her color. Tucker's like, hey, stop that. He often runs to her when she's scratching. I always says like, oh, like, he doesn't want her to have any fun, but I don't know. Maybe he's preventing her from destroying furniture. He's a good guard dog. Hi guys, it is now Monday around 5 o'clock, and sorry for a bit of a disjointed videos. I found a clip yesterday, but I didn't do a check-in yesterday evening because my boyfriend was like going to put all the clips together for last week's vlog, and come to find out that he had deleted everything. He was like going through a cleanup, and he accidentally deleted all of those. And so I was working with him yesterday to see if we can find them, and we just couldn't recover it. And so yeah, that's why I didn't check in yesterday. But I've finished and started a whole slew of books, so I thought I wanted to get those in now. So I finished The Hidden World of the Fox by Adele Brand, and this I enjoyed it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, but yeah, I really liked it. It was very informative on foxes and how they're similar to canines and wolves, and how they can be very different as well, and how a lot of it focused on how they are living in London, and let me put her hair. Cat hair is like bothering me. So yeah, how they live in London, how they're adapted to in the city, and not just that, but how people perceive them. She talked about how she did a study, and the people in the city dwellers, had a more unfavorable opinion of them than the country and the like the suburbs, where it had a lot more favorable. Maybe because like they see them more. I'm not sure what it was. Like the city dwellers kept commenting. It had several comments on how they were considered like rats, or carrying lots of diseases and things like that. And so yeah, that was interesting to read about. And so the author talked about kind of debunks them carrying lots of diseases. It talks about rabies and things like that, and how that can be prevented, and how a lot of the fox populations in England itself is almost it's almost completely eradicated. So yeah, it was interesting to read about. And then I read Wildflower Ranch, a novella by Carolyn Brown. And this is the first Carolyn Brown book I read, and this is about it's like three sisters who are on a ranch, and and it's handed to them by their father, who he leaves it to them in a will, and he says you all must live there for a year in order to inherit it. But one of the sisters gets married right away and wants nothing to do with it, and so but this follows the middle sister, who initially wants to own the ranch, but she gets she has her eye on a neighbor who's like right beside her, and he actually inherits land, and so she figures that oh, it's never explicitly said exactly, but I feel like she isn't hurt by losing all this land because she's able to move in with him and have all that land in a way. And so I was never explicitly talked about, but I feel like that's how she was able to ease her mind of giving up all of this property. But yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but yeah, it was okay. Let's see. And then I finally finished Charlie Brown, The Complete Peanuts. This is 1955 to 1956, and this is just what I picked up at the library. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't read these in a really long time. When I read them as a kid, I got them in the newspaper. I would just as a kid, I would just read the funnies. And I think reading this whole collection, this whole year's worth, in like a week or 2 week time span, I realized like how depressing it can be. Charlie Brown deals with being put down a lot by Lucy and his friends in the neighborhood. And how talk about how unimportant and unloved he is, and he talks to himself to himself about that. And yeah, that was really depressing to read about. There was funny moments in here that I liked, but I don't know, it's left me a bit depressed overall. So but I thought I would show you at least one little clip here. So I thought we'd show this last page, and yeah, it has I like the drawing and all that's nice, and it says. Are you going to make any New Year's resolutions, Lucy? What? What for? What's wrong with me? I like myself just the way I am. Why should I change? What in the world is the matter with you, Charlie Brown? I'm all right the way I am. I don't have to improve. How could I improve? How? I ask you. How? And then he says, good grief. And so yeah, there's that one. I wanted to show you at least one little clip. So I haven't, since I started picking this up. But yeah, I don't know. It's looking really weird. Because as a kid, I didn't pick up on that as much. But yeah, maybe because I hadn't read them straight through and got like the full feeling of the stories. Let's see. And then I started while I was at work listening to Desert Solitaire, A Season in the Wilderness by Edward Abbey. And this is a celebration of the beauty of living in a harsh and hostile land. And he is living in Moab, Utah, living like in the back country as like working at a campground. And a lot of this, he's talking about how he is very much against, because this was written back in the 1960s. I think it's 1968. But how at the time they were building constructing lots of roads, and how he goes on long rants on how he does not like that. He wants people to arrive and then come into the parks on horses or shuttles or walking in or biking in, things like that, to keep the land as pristine as possible. And I don't always agree with everything he's saying in these books, but overall I'm really liking it, because the feel of living in a desert climate. He talks a lot about the weather changing and like the dust and the storms that come in and the quicksand and things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting book to read. And then I started while I was at work, Caroline, A Little House Revisited by Sarah Miller. And this was brought to my attention when I was participating in the Little House Readathon that was happening earlier this month by Lizzie over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. And so she read this book and talked about it. So yeah, I want to pick this up since I just read 2 of the Little House books. And so yeah, this is the perspective of Caroline, the mother. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm just now starting it. I think I'm like 5% in, and it's following the time of when they leave Pepin, Wisconsin, and they go and they live on the prairies in Kansas when it was still considered Indian territory. And so the first part right now is talking about focusing on Caroline and having to give up all of her family. It's interesting that the Ingalls and her side of the family. All of her brothers and sisters on both sides of Ingalls and her husband and her side have all intermarried, and so it's like three sisters and 3 brothers have all linked up, and so Laura and Mary are like double cousined with their cousins. So that was interesting to read about. And it's like, but they just like makes it more poignant that of her leaving all of her family to go into the prairies because Charles was chasing the West fever. So yeah, that was it makes it more heartfelt because it was like reading the Little House series. It's all from the perspective of Laura, who's just thrilled beyond belief to go on adventures. But this points out that the adults can have a different mindset, and how Caroline doesn't always have to agree with Charles. And then I started last night, Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, and this it was really interesting. It's so far it's about a oxygen tank explosion. There's this I can't remember what they call it. It's like oxygen submarine thing that this guy has set up in his backyard, and these people with disabilities, like especially autism, is a focus. And they come in for these sessions of pure oxygen where they wear these helmets, and they this pure oxygen is pressurized like you're in a submarine, and that's supposed to help cure their disability and cerebral palsy, things like that, but mostly focused on autism. But it blows up, and there's some deaths, and so this is following the trials in court because one of the mothers is accused of setting this fire. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I like the writing; it keeps me hooked. Because each chapter is following a different perspective, a different person who is involved in these this submarine oxygenated tent thing. I should have looked up the name before talking about it. And then the last book I started yesterday is A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers, and I have a physical copy, but it's buried over there, so I haven't got it with me on hand. But this is an ARC that I got at the BookTube Prize meetup, and I've never read an ARC, so I was like, yeah, I want to. This is the only one I have, so I should read it this month. It came out February 11th, so I wanted to read it this month to give my review on it. And this, on the back of the book, it says it's similar for fans of Outlander and A Secret of Witches and The Time Traveler's Wife. And so this has magic in it, and it has time travel. It's following the main character. She has 4 past lives, and it opens up with her. The first life you go to is when she's a young girl, and she's 16 years old in the late 1800s. And she gets involved with an older man, and so her mother is a witch, and she casts this spell on to the daughter to prevent to keep the man away, and to expel, basically give her an abortion, so it doesn't ruin her life. So that's what I'm at so far. But it keeps going back to current day, and mentioning how she must hurry up and remember everything about all 4 of these lives before something bad happens. But I don't know what that bad thing is yet. So, but yeah, I just started. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And so anyway, as for my plans tonight, I'm just going to have a quick dinner and get into reading and hopefully not lose all of these vlogs that I'm, going to clip together at the end. So yeah, I'll see you soon. Hi guys, it is now 4:30 on Tuesday, and I am on a walk with Tucker. It's a really nice day. It's in the 60s, and so I thought I would spend the day after work at this little pond lake here. I am finishing up listening to Well Met. It's a romance set at a Renaissance fair. The male lead, he is a main organizer of the Renaissance fair, and then the woman she gets roped into volunteering because her niece wants to participate, but she's not over 18, so she needs a chaperone. And it sets off from there, and it's just a really cute story. I'm liking it a lot. And then earlier today I finished listening to Desert Solitaire, and that one was really interesting. The guy, I didn't always agree with his perspective of what he thinks should happen with national parks. He had a very set opinion of them. For example, I think I mentioned the other day, his idea for setting up roads was basically not to have them, and I think that would be difficult for people who aren't able to walk or bike in, for people who are in wheelchairs or things like that. And he didn't even talk about like what his plan would be for those type of people. But yeah, overall, I really liked it. I really got a sense for living in Moab, Utah, and yeah, it was a really interesting book to listen to. So yeah, I'm going to continue listening to Well Met. I have like an hour or so left, and yeah, then that would probably end my walk here. So I just passed a kid who was reading a physical book and walking at the same time, and that reminded me of when I was in high school. My school was 2 miles away, and so I ended up walking to school both ways. And this was before I had an option of audiobooks. I mean, I went to school in the early 2000s, and there wasn't such a thing as an iPod or anything like that. And so, like, if I wanted to listen to a book, I would have to I put it in a CD player, and just walking along, it's just too bumpy, and it would like disrupt the sound. And so I would read physical books as I walked. So that, yeah, that just reminded me of her. And I never tripped or ran into traffic, but that was always a worry. But yeah, what are you gonna do with all that time? So I spy some geese here. Hopefully Tucker won't scare them away. There's a whole group of them. They're probably all gonna waddle into the lake because he's into watching them. My boyfriend's driving me to work, and I just had to show you this insane fog. Hi guys, it is now 5 o'clock on Thursday, and I thought I would sit in front of the camera and give you an update because I don't think I did that yesterday. As far as today goes, I had an awful day, to be quite honest, an awful day at work, and so I'm very glad to be home talking with you, and then talking about books and reading books. This is all I want right now, to forget everything that happened earlier today. But as far as the books I've finished since talking with you, I finished Well Met by Jen DeLuca. And I think I've already given a description of this, but this is set at a Renaissance fair. It's a romance, and it was just really cool to be in like the world of a Renaissance fair. I've never gone to one, but this made me want to go to one. It's the woman, she becomes like a bar wench, and the guy becomes a pirate. And yeah, it was just great fun to read. I then, when I was listening to this book on audio while at work, this is Inland by Tia O'Bright. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. She wrote The Tiger's Wife, and I've never read that. But I've seen several people talk about this book, so I thought I would give it a go. And it's set in Arizona, and there's ghosts involved, and like there's a woman who is by herself with her younger son, and there's like a beast that keeps coming around, and so that was kind of intriguing. And then there is also a perspective of an outlaw who is traveling, and he is visited by ghosts, as kind of haunted by ghosts. But so all that sounded good, but I don't know, the writing was okay. It's just the plot, it just dragged, and I was quite bored, to be honest. Like, I didn't want to be, but yeah, it just didn't hold my attention as near as much as I wanted to. And so yeah, this was kind of just a meh book for me. But so yeah, and then the other book I'm going to be reading, hopefully finishing up today, is A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers. And this is a time traveling book. She's in contemporary times, and she's going back to her past lives. She is like immersed in this curse. I rhymed there. Not intentionally, I don't think. Well, I don't know. But so her mother, in her past beginning life, cast a spell because she was having an affair with an artist that the mother did not approve of, and so she cast a spell, hoping to just curse the guy, but she accidentally draws in the daughter as well, and so she's forced to constantly replay this affair in different time periods. And so now we're in current day, and so she's trying to hurry up and dispel the curse before her time runs out. So yeah, it's just keeping me going with this book. I'm really enjoying it. The other book I don't have I didn't think to get a picture of, Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, something like that. Yeah, this is also a fantastic book. It's almost like it was written kind of like a thriller, I would say. It is about a oxygen tank that exploded, and there was it was set up for autistic children and people of disabilities to hopefully hopefully breathing in pure oxygen will help them find a cure. But it blows up, and there's a mystery involved on who blew it up, and there's death, and so it's all set on a court case. So I'm distracted by my dog. I think my boyfriend's home. He's bringing Burger King for dinner because I didn't want to cook. I'm eating like the Impossible Whopper, so yeah, I thought I would try that and give that a go. But so yeah, he's at the door, so I have to let you go now. But yeah, I'm off to have some dinner. Hi guys, it is now Friday at 4 o'clock, and I thought I would start my weekend by walking around at this little creek here with Tucker. I'm happy to report at work today it was a lot less stressful, but I was very distracted, and so I kept getting pulled away from work, and so I didn't ever feel like I was accomplishing much. But hey, it's Friday afternoon now, and I don't have to think about work at all until Monday. But yeah, it's really nice to look at this little stream here, but it's kind of stinky because we had a lot of rain, and so like the banks are very muddy, and so all that mud drying is leaving a smell. But yeah, I'm happy to be listening to the birds and walking Tucker. But yeah, as far as the books, I am now listening to a Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold or Leonard, something like that. But this is a book I've been meaning to read for quite a while, and I was reading a couple of nature books back in January that prompted me because they mentioned Leopold quite a bit, and so yeah, it reminded me to read this book. But yeah, as far as evening plans, I want to finish the A Time of the Witch, that physical book that I had left to read, and yeah, just finished up. Basically, my weekend plans are to finish up everything that I have left over from February. So I'm reading Caroline, and I'm listening to the Sound County Almanac, and then I'm also wanting to read The Witch in Time, or something like that. I'm always horrible with like names and authors and all of that, but yeah, I think it's because I'm not often looking at the covers. Like when I'm listening to a book, I just push a button and play on my phone, and then same with like ebooks. I'm not really going to the cover at all. But yeah, so I'll flip it around now so you can look at Tucker. So here he is enjoying his Friday evening. It's like his favorite thing is to go walking, and I always try and like switch up where I go so he doesn't get too bored with things. But he really loves getting in the car. So like whenever I take him to a place, like even like just going out on a potty break at my apartment, if I pass my car, he immediately stops and wants to get in, and he'll go for a ride anywhere. He likes, I like taking him too, so that way he's not, bored, stuck at home all the time if I can manage it. So yeah, it's nice. Yeah, that's all that stinky mud I was talking about. But there's a lot of green popping up, so yeah, spring is in the air. Or at least they're enjoying the mud. My dog is very interested. It's a tower of vultures. Hi guys, it is now 7:30 on Saturday, and I wanted to come on and wrap up the vlog this week. I spent all day today cleaning and doing laundry, vacuuming, doing dishes, making lunch and dinner. And so, funny enough, like I kept off and on today reading Caroline, Little House Revisited by Sarah Miller. And I haven't finished it yet. I have like 50 pages left to go, and I'm finishing that tonight to end February. But she, it takes her all week to do these tasks. It's kind of it's written very similar to the Little House series, where you get like the day-to-day life. And so she's constantly talking about, worrying about food and making sure she has enough flour for things, or cornmeal, and like setting the table, mending clothes. And so yeah, I felt like in tune with her a bit, but I'm so happy for my modern day appliances. I don't know what I would do without them. And so then the other two books that I finished since talking with you, Come Tumbling Down. This is book 5 in the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. And this is following Jack and Jill from book 2. It's set at the Moors. And it's mostly focused on Jack, who comes back into the world, into the Wayward Children. And it's like forming new friendships. And yeah, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as the last one, An Absent Dream. I liked one a lot more. But yeah, I feel like I got their story from book 2. I don't feel like I needed to get more from them. But yeah, I'm happy to have read it, and I'm looking forward to the next one in the series. It was a really quick, easy read. And then the other one I finished was A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers. And this is the arc, my first arc that I read. So this one has time travel involved. It's about a woman who was cursed back in the late 1800s by her mother. I think I've already mentioned the story, but I'm going to rehashing now. By her mother, because she was having an affair, and she got pregnant. And so the mother didn't want her to, lose her reputation and lose her future that the woman had hoped she would have. And so she curses the man she's having an affair with, but because she's not that skilled at being a witch, she accidentally includes the daughter in her curse. And so for like all eternity, she keeps coming back and reliving this relationship that she has, and she constantly dies at a young age. And so you follow the main character, they're all the same character in different lives, but the current day woman, you're following her as she slowly relives each of these lives in order to prepare for avoiding death this time around. And so you go back to the 1800s in France, and then you go to the 1930s during Hollywood, in the 1970s, again in the Los Angeles area, setting up a rock band. And then now she's like working in DC with like politics and setting her magazines. So what I liked about this story was you get all those like enriched time periods where there's a lot happening, and so yeah, I really liked that aspect. What I didn't like is the ending, because throughout the majority of the book, you get a lot about there's 4 people, the 4 timelines, and so you get a lot with the first one to set up the story, and the second one, it flips back and forth between current day and past day. But what I didn't like is the third timeline, the one in the 1970s. You get all of her story at once instead of flipping back and forth and like the current character, having commentary on what's happening and like moving the story along. You stay with the third character for like 100. That chapter is like 100 pages, so the pacing felt off. Is what I'm trying to get out there. But yeah, overall, I really liked it. I don't often read time traveling novels. But yeah, I'm glad to have picked this up at the BookTube prize. And I like the cover as well. It's pretty cool. And there is witchery involved because, like I said, the mother is a witch. But then there's other witchcraft and magic in there as well, and demons and all sorts of things. So yeah, this is all the books I've read yesterday and today. I didn't do much else. Like I said, I focused all on cleaning. But sorry for not putting more clips in, because today, because you don't want to see me wash dishes. That's just, I didn't do anything thrilling or exciting, but maybe tomorrow I'll be doing something fun. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks, BookTube.